Hello, you're watching The Luna Show, and right now you're about to meet Omari, the Queen Bee Mizrahi.
Hey Amari, how are you?
Hi, how are
Amari
you?
Mizrahi. What's going on? One of my favorite performers in the scene. I love
Thank
to watch you
you.
Vogue.
Thank you. Thank you.
How long have you been in the scene actually?
Oh, wow. I've been in the scene for now about 4 years, actually, 4 years strong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And tell me a little history on and the last 4 years, like.
The last 4 years. Well, let's see. I came into the scene 4 years ago. It was weird because I came in with friends. They were into the house and ballroom stuff already. I was just learning how to Vogue. I was a dancer, so I kind of knew, how to get around, voguing and stuff. But I never knew the actual technique of Vogue. And I came to HMI, and that's where I kind of, started learning everything. And my first house was the House of Con, New York City chapter. We used to always eat it. And I was a con, and they taught me a lot about, just performing and getting my elements together and things like that. And that's when I really, really, really was in love with dramatic performance. And a lot of people, always say, why did you choose dramatics? And I say because I'm drama. I'm dramatic. I'm theatrical. And that's where I love performing for. I love the theatrics of performance. And after that, from being a con, I became a 007, and a couple of months later, I worked the free agent ball, and I became a Chanel. R had took me in under his wing, and you know, that's where I started developing more and more of my character as a performer, and from then on, I was a Chanel, and things were great, but I wasn't happy. And I believe if you want to be a Voguer, you want to be a performer, you should always be happy with your performance, with yourself, and where you're at. And I wasn't, and went to look somewhere else for a happier home. And at that time, my mother, which I love dearly, was Tahiri Mizrahi. And he always spoke to me about it, and my gay sister was Naomi, and my gay sister was Shoshana, so it was, family already there, the bloodline, as you can say, was already there, and they took me in. It was very hard to get in, trust me. I had to battle down, I had to battle the girls down to get in, but I proved to them, and I'm still proving to them that being a faithful member of the house and a performer and just a dedicated performer, and now you see me as standing here today as International Queen Bee Mizrahi.
So, as a performer, I know you study dance. Tell me a
Yes.
little bit about that.
I've been dancing since I was the age of 5 years old. I began dancing because of my mom. My mom is a professional dancer as well. And she always knew and always saw it in me that I had the talent to be a dancer. And I always loved dance. You can basically say I was a mama's boy. Don't tell her I said that. And I started off traditional African dancing, and when I moved to the States, I ventured off and seeing hip hop and pop and ballet and modern, and that brought to my attention because, like I said before, I was always international. My mind was very international. So, exploring different styles of dance is what I wanted to do. And I trained severely in ballet and hip hop and modern, but I did feel more comfortable,
You did
a
it in a
comfort
school
zone.
or a company?
I did it in school first. I went to many classes. My mom would pay for classes and stuff like that. Once I had enough money myself to support myself, I would go take classes. My babysitter, which is a funny story, my babysitter was a ballet dancer, and she used to dance for the New York City Ballet. And she used to babysit me, and she used to always take me to her ballet class, and I would sit there in the back of the ballet class just like wondering, hey, can I do a Ronde Jean? Can I, PK and twirl whirl? And I started, taking the class. But, I was a little kid, so, it was free for me to take the class. So I would take the class, and that's when my history and my training began from there. But even then, I always say to this day, my training began from within my mom's womb. She was a dancer. She danced when she was pregnant with me. So it always felt the rhythm inside me. That's what brought out my talent.
So how do you incorporate traditional dancing with voguing? How does that?
I love
Because
it.
voguing is against what you learn in school.
Yes, it is. It is. It's just the whole elements of it is completely different from what you learned in school. But the training is a definite ground. It's a ground, and my voguing, you can see it in my voguing that I do use my training, my background as a stable ground, to create new things of Vogue, and hip hop and break dancing. When I learned all these new dances, these new styles of dancing, it made voguing more to me. And to me, I always say voguing is a sentence, and you don't want to have a run-on sentence. You don't want to have, a sentence just dead in the air or a dull sentence. A sentence builds up, and I like to make sentences into paragraphs and paragraphs into stories. And I use all the styles of dance that I use to build this paragraph, to build this story. And I use my ballet technique. I use my hip-hop and pop technique because the music from that the ballroom scene use, you can hip-hop dancers and pop dancers can relate to that music because of just the vibe of it and the beat and the downbeat and the upbeat and the up-tempo. It makes you feel it. You go to the club and you do feel it. Honestly, you do feel it. You just want to, shake a boob, shake a hand, shake a wrist, flick a ring, flick an eye. And I love it. And I bring it all together as one. Because I want them to see that I'm not just voguing, but I'm performing and I'm bringing myself into it. And it's not just the elements, but it's the elements plus one, and that one is your own, yourself.
That's hot. And what's your favorite element in voguing?
My favorite element, which never was my favorite element, because my favorite element first was spins. I used to spin my ass off, so that was my favorite element. But now I would say hand performance. Hand performance is my favorite element because you truly can tell a story. And like I mentioned before, my performance tells a sentence, it builds a paragraph, it builds a story. My
A lot of people today, like the newer generation, don't use. It's more about dipping.
Yeah, it's more about
people forget the hands.
Yeah, people forget hands. People forget performing it or how to carry one element into the other. And even I, to this day, sometimes get lost in my own story and and forget to put a comma, add an exclamation point, but it's not a period. It's things like that. And I'm still training, I'm still learning, and that's what I'm pretty sure even if I become, because I don't know how long I'll be in the scene, but if I become legendary or have the pleasure to be deemed iconic or something, or Hall of Fame, I'm not bigger than anyone, I'm still learning. To this day I'll still be learning, from the kids who come after me, and it's just a great thing. Voguing is just a great thing. You can't really say nothing wrong about voguing, except for the back pains that you get after after a dramatic.
Oh, Willie Ninja said it.
Yes, he did say it. Trust me, Bengay will be your best friend. Icy Hot will be your best friend.
A lot.
Don't judge me because of the category I walk. I'm a regular person. I have a regular voice. I have a regular lifestyle. I'm a regular person, and that's one thing I say. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. They think of my category as being feminine or being, or just being always into Vogue, and that's not what I am. I'm a real being. I'm a real human, and treat me as that because I would treat you the same. To sum it all up is trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, how could you ever live your life honestly? And I take that into, my own words because I had to trust myself, before I trust the other people around me. I had to trust myself, and now I can say that I live my life truthfully, and that's my message to all of you, because you might look up to me, but I look up to y'all. You know, because without y'all, who am I?